now tuned in to the cold, hard truth. Cayman's #1 hard-hitting live podcast show, where we feature some straightforward conversations on political, social, and celebrity news and all things happening in the Cayman Islands and around the world. This show was created to give the people a voice and a means of being involved and informed without any filters. Sometimes it gets crazy, but we always keep it real. We bring you the tea, piping hot, so grab your favorite beverage and join the conversation via WhatsApp at 324-1612. Email tips at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Now, here's your host, Sandy Hill, broadcasting live from the beautiful Cayman Islands.
Good morning, everyone. Let us check in with Blake and Aaron. Let's see what's going on over at KISS 106.1.
Okay, so I'm assuming they
Good
were
morning.
like 3 seats or a seat between.
No, so the picture of him in the stadium where the Golden Knights play is completely packed with people. Not a single person in the stadium wearing a mask, from what I can tell.
Okay,
in the photo.
And do they have to prove anything? I
don't know, actually.
So because one of my besties in New York City last night, she sends a message to our group chat and she's like, hey, I'm going out to see Roy Wood Jr., who I love. You know, he's a correspondent for The Daily Show. And so he's working out some new material. And it's a very intimate crowd. At the door, they had to put their phones in a, sealed plastic bag.
Okay.
You can't leak the new material, as well as show that you've been vaccinated. Prove that you've been vaccinated.
So I know.
But then she has a photo with him, like they were hanging out, like having drinks together. So for me, I was looking at that, like that seems like they're getting back to normalcy.
I can't imagine that, like, what does the stadium hold? 25,000?
I can't imagine. Well, did you not hear about the cruise ship that it was like most people were vaccinated except for like those 2 people that infected the whole one?
Yeah. So I don't know if that's getting back to normal and that's a great thing and we're just not used to it.
Totally.
Sandy, how are you? Are you in?
Hey, morning. I'm good. How are you?
She's getting her coffee.
Yeah.
No,
I can. That are kind of that is silver lining for pandemic coming back from the pandemic. The tipping, like if you go out to a restaurant, pre-pandemic tipping was about 15%,
mm-hmm.
and now post-pandemic, people going back to restaurants are tipping above 20%.
I mean, think about it. These people.
Can you guys hear me? I don't think they can hear me.
In dangerous situations where they could have contracted a virus or they weren't working at all. So
that is true.
Nice people.
So that is good. If you're in the industry, the service industry, expect higher tips. You get to 18% gratuity automatically here in Cayman?
I think it's usually 15.
This is interesting too. I haven't flown since the pandemic.
I have been on going to Little Cayman.
Yeah. Okay. That's flying.
I've been in a plane. It was exciting.
So in-flight magazines apparently are going to become a thing of the past.
As they should. You should scan something. Am I predicting what you're about to say?
Well, no, I just airlines like American, Delta, and Southwest already have said no more in-flight, in the seat pocket in front of you.
Totally.
No more in-flight magazines from the airline.
Okay.
They're just getting rid of them.
Oh, see, they should have what is that, QR code? And then you can scan it and then it downloads the magazine to your phone or your iPad or your computer and you could read it that way.
Yeah, that's true. They just said you have.
Did I just give a free idea to the billion-dollar industry of the airlines? You're welcome.
It's not because of people touching the magazine, which you would think. It's just that
it's because they're cheap.
Exactly. They didn't do it during the pandemic. They're like, hey, nobody complained. Let's get rid of them.
Everybody, I'm going to tell you this. The second you start getting on more commercial flights, like the American flights or Delta or whatever, just pay attention because I bet they moved all the seats even closer.
They probably did.
It's like, let's just move them half inch. No one will notice because they'll be so excited to be on planes again.
Do you remember that time we made the in-flight magazine at Cayman Airways?
We did.
Yeah.
We were.
Hi, Sandy.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're good.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome. I was saying hi earlier, but I don't think you could hear me.
You know what? That was my fault. I didn't have you have the right button pushed in.
Okay.
We're learning how to do this again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's live radio, live for you.
Live, yeah, everything's live right now. So things happen.
Tell us about this
Friday.
crazy story yesterday at A.L. Thompson. I know you're talking.
Oh my gosh, you guys are not even going to believe half of what I got to share on the morning show.
And not to plug them, but I like their food a lot. I was just at Brussels Sprouts,
which is right
on
the side of Altice, having lunch 30 minutes before. I didn't see any of that.
And I drove by when it was all going on. I'm like, what? Someone must have crashed into the roundabout. That's what I said. And then went by and realized it seemed like something more.
Somebody had said a shot was fired. Was there a shot fired?
Well, the police haven't exactly said much of anything, but it looks like they actually shot at his tire of the vehicle. So from what we can ascertain between what the police have said, what they haven't said, and some behind the scenes stuff, because I actually got a phone call from the police. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on in the show, but that was like...
Was it a good one or...
Were you
they basically had a request of me.
Okay.
Oh.
Yes.
So what happened? There was so it
looks like this man, I don't know, we got a name off air, but I don't want to say who it is yet, because I'm sure we'll find out later on. But basically, they were trying to stop him. I don't quite know why yet, but they suspected that he had a firearm. So they came out with like all guns blazing. And literally, as you can see, they had some really heavy ammunition.
I saw the picture of the two guys, the cops in the video. And I was like, is that hey man? Because they had like rifles.
There are the armed forces.
I know, but I thought they just had handguns.
Oh no.
These guys
no. They've got like proper, I don't know what they carry in terms. Yeah, I don't know what they carry in terms of arsenal, but I think they probably got a couple AK-47s or whatever. I mean, it's crazy.
They look like AR-15s,
I don't know. But yeah, they're well armed. They're well armed. So, so of course that'll be big news on the show this morning. There was also a second prison officer arrested last night.
Ooh.
CMR broke that story. Yep, nobody else had it.
Okay.
That's
wow.
So another one
involved in the marijuana.
Yeah. Yep. So okay. Well,
so that dude is singing like a canary.
Well, you need to, right? Because I'm guessing maybe the first guy was like, "If I'm going down, you're going down."
Yeah. So
and then
it might be a whole boatload of people going down. So so far. We'll see how many more.
That's crazy that's happening out there.
It is.
And
you hear all these stories all the time about stuff that's going on. You think, oh, that's just a conspiracy theory. There's really no drugs going into the prison and whatever. And here you go.
Blake and I have been joking for a long time about the party that goes on at Northwood. As a joke, because our tower is on our what's it called? You're the one that
knows the radio tower where our antenna is for the radio station, actually for 3 of them here at DMS Broadcasting, is at Northwood.
And we have to get permission from Her Majesty's prison, right? When we go through.
Well,
we used to.
Whenever I go out there to do maintenance, because I'm the guy that does some of that stuff behind the scenes, I go out to the prison. Yeah. And our little buildings there, our tower, and
because I went twice because I'm like, I gotta see where this is at, because I also am interested in it. And it was we would you'd see people hanging out, and we're like,
well, sometimes kind of there's nothing between me and prisoners sometimes, because there's like that back garden where some prisoners are out there gardening and things like that. I guess the low level, low security risk prisoners are out there, which is I don't have an issue with it. I go inside and I lock the door. But yeah, it's kind of crazy to go out there and just because you can see.
You got to double check your car, make sure nobody snuck in with you.
That's true.
They should actually be checking your car
on the way out.
Guards should be. Ooh.
Yeah. Listen, everybody's a suspect. You just never know.
Yeah.
But that's 2 of the big stories for today, which are like super big for an island this size, I think. And we got a couple little things that we're going to clean up a little bit on. Army Hammer, we haven't talked about him in a minute. So we're going to talk about what he's been up to. And there's something interesting that has been revealed to us about one of the movies that was made here in terms of the title of the movie.
Okay.
Which I don't think a lot of people are going to appreciate the title of the movie, but I'm guessing that none of that gets approved, or no one's asking those questions before they approve them to come here. But you guys are going to think this is super crazy.
There's one called The Baker.
Yes.
There's one called the Retirement Plan, which I was just in.
Uh-huh.
And then I don't know the name of the other one. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's a little controversial, really.
Can you say the name on Kiss FM?
So,
they're not shooting an adult film here, are they?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well, the title gets awfully close.
Well, let's hear it. What is it?
Is it?
It's called F Boy.
Oh.
F Boy. Okay.
Oh.
So football boy. I get it. That makes sense. Yeah. All right.
So we're gonna see how our listeners feel about that a little bit later on in the show.
I want to go back to Armie Hammer. What are you hearing that he's doing?
Well, he's gone into rehab.
No, he's off island. He's checked into rehab, and
so one of the things that he's gone into rehab for apparently is some sort of sex addiction. Surprise, surprise.
So did we ever find out who he's dating? Because there was a story where he's dating somebody who's a dental hygienist. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
At a local dentist office. Do we know?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know who that person is.
Stay on there.
No,
that's not nice to do.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know who that is anyway. But I think with Armie, the thing is he's probably always got a couple women on his arm that you know. It's probably not all that.
He's a handsome guy.
Yeah.
He's a handsome guy.
Sorry.
Oh, is that a sneeze?
Was that a sneeze or a bird?
Yes, that was. I swear that my sneezes are going to kill me one day. Like
there's live radio for you.
Yeah.
All right. We just heard Sandy sneeze. That was adorable. You got an adorable sneeze. All right. Catch Sandy. She's live right now on CMR, and we'll see you on Tuesday.
Absolutely. Yes. Monday is a public holiday. Everybody enjoy the long holiday weekend. Queen's birthday, go out and enjoy the celebrations. Hopefully Lavelle will not be there, but we'll see.
You too. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. All right, folks. Good morning. Good morning to my crew. What's up? What's up? Hi, Jonathan. Give me one quick second. I want to double check something. We got a lot to talk about this morning. We're going to kick it off here in a second. Okay, so I don't know if Louis is here yet, but Louis, we have requested that those mugs be sent to you directly to your address in Michigan. So we've got we've got 4 mugs on the way to you. So let us start at the top. We've got Jackie, Irvlyn, Nikki, Indira. Michael is here. Lester, Alice, Ethel, Miss Ethel joining us in the UK, I believe. Cara, Elizabeth, Marshall, Carol. Good morning, Miss Carol. Melita, Selena, Emma's here. Diamond Princess Sapphire's here. Where have you been, Diamond Princess Sapphire? I've missed you. Yes, good morning, Carol. We believe in manners here on our program. Good morning to Olivia and Anne Marie and Miss Morna and Miss Joy and beautiful Daisy. Daisy says, Famosa Sandra, buenos dias, mama. Jasara, Irvelyn, Miss Judy's here. Happy Friday. And it is a long holiday weekend. That's right. Omeria, good morning. Joining us through YouTube. How many people we got on YouTube so far? 42 people and counting. Cecil, good morning. Jonathan is here. Thank you so much. All the way from St. Martin. We appreciate the love and support across the world. Our Caribbean brothers and sisters support us. We always have Jamaica tuned in, St. Martin, Barbados sometimes, Bahamas, Bermuda, all over the world. And of course, family and friends in the US, the UK. Benji, good morning to you, my dear. Siobhan is here. Leroy has it locked. Wells, is that how you pronounce your name? Good morning to you. Yes. Irvelyn, Omar is here. Omar says, oh God, Sandy, I need that sneeze as a sound effect for when I'm mixing. I can't even with you, Omar. It's legit crazy. And I've always sneezed that way. Somebody keeps saying to me, I think you're holding in the sneeze and that's the problem. And one of these days it's just going to explode and it's going to be crazy. I was like, I don't know about all that. Good morning, Shannon. Good morning, Suzette. Yes, morning, Mr. Omar. Rita is here. Buenos dias. Benji, are you logged on to both YouTube and Facebook? Wow, you're double dipping. Charm, she says we're trending, getting close to 300 people already. Vernita, Daisy, see, buenos dias. Going on YouTube for the big screen. Yes, that's the beauty of watching it on YouTube, that if you have a smart TV or you have one of the smart boxes that we've been setting up people with, you just click on YouTube and you're able to watch it on the big screen, which is a lot more comfortable than just on your phone. Ralston, good morning to you, my love. Carol is here. Good morning, Carol. So good to see you. Abigail, Miss Marjorie, you're on, I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure you're on the mug list already. But I will double check. Hold on. I got my mug list. So yes, they are on the way. Mugs. Let me see. I've got, okay, let me add you because I don't think I actually have you here. So let's put Miss Marjorie on the list for mugs. Yes, Vanessa, good morning. Miss Andine, how are you? Good to see you. Lily Boo, we just hit 300, by the way. Karen, Brianna, Yasmin. Gosh, we got so many people here today. Joyce Ann, Brandon, good morning. Sir Bishop Hero Blair from the Sunshine State in the beautiful city. Yes, the Sunshine State happens to be Florida. So very, very good. Let me just, I got to add Rosie to the mug list. No problem. Okay. Yeah, so the mugs have been ordered and I'm hoping we do not have a substantial delay in getting them, because we would really, 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 really love to get them here before, let me add two more that just messaged me on WhatsApp. Yeah, we're trying to get them here before our anniversary, which is the 29th. So as we get a little bit closer to that date, I will be sharing with all of you. Okay. So yeah, so we've got a few things popping off there. All right. Let me just send this young lady this message. Okay. All right. So good stuff. We've got Rodney here for us. Good morning out of the West. The West is the best, they say, Rodney. We're from the Lower Valley area, so we're representing this side of the island, but big up to West Bay. Got lots of good friends from West Bay. Good morning, Sandy. Good morning, MacNeil. Carmelie's here. Good morning. Haven't had a chance to really check messages yet. Good morning, Pamela. Mr. Blair, this is what I want you to do for me, because I know that you're actually in Florida. Send me your Florida address, because it's actually easier if you're in the States where the order is coming from, for me to simply ask them to ship directly your mug, and then they'll send me the rest of the batch. But go ahead and send me your address on WhatsApp. Let me stick up the WhatsApp number, by the way. Let me just stick that up really quickly. So if you've not contacted us by WhatsApp, you can join our news notification list. That's the phone number there. And I shall get you sorted. So just send me your address, shoot me a quick message via WhatsApp, and then I will get your mug to you in Florida. Benji is having a little chuckle. Good morning, Clinton. Rosie's here. Miss Margie has got some OJ for her morning. Jonathan says, bop, bop. Yeah, boy. All right. Miss Marley is here. Marley Lopez, good morning to you. Larry is joining us from New York. And Omar says, love the fact that you actually take time to acknowledge your viewers to make us know that at least someone really is listening to the people of this island, good or bad. Thank you, Omar. Good morning, beautiful Jennifer. It's interesting that you should say that, Omar, because, sometimes we get feedback that, oh, I don't want to hear all your morning greetings. I'm like, it's not really the show for you, because that's what we do. We are it takes, not everybody understands CMR, first of all. And I get it. It's not, like I've said this before, it's not everybody's cup of tea. I don't get offended by that. It just is what it is. But at the end of the day, there's certain things that we do here that represent, we are Cayman Mall Road. And so as a Caymanian, there are things that we get and we understand and we engage at a certain level. And not a lot of other platforms simply don't do that. It is what it is. We've never wanted to be like anybody else. We are unique and different and special in our own right. So good morning, Linda. So good to see you. And my boy, Donovan, joining us from New York. By the way, on today's show topics as well, we're going to be talking about the situation at the airport with APS. So let's get kicking in terms of our topics for the morning. Good morning, Senior Walton. All logged in, got it locked, got it tuned in. Turn up the volume. Let's go. First of all, last night we got word that a second officer, hi Teresa, was arrested, a second prison officer. Now, you remember what I told y'all yesterday. After the arrest on Wednesday morning, yes, we had heard almost immediately that, what's his name, Rudolph Rambaran, was singing like a canary. He was spilling the tea, more tea than we got. Good morning, Miss Joy. And he was naming names and calling people up. And I hope he says who he was actually taking the drugs in the prison for, because we had that name right away. So prisoners know what's going on. Other people know what's going on. So yes, he is talking, and he needs to talk from the top all the way down to the bottom. Let us be very, very clear here, folks. What he's engaged in is some serious activity. Taking any sort of contraband into the prison is a serious offense. What's the point of prison if people can still be smuggling drugs, smuggling prostitutes, committing murder, doing the most right from in prison? You might as well not even have them incarcerated. I saw someone commented in one of the posts that what's the point of prison, because prisons don't work. So I thought, well, that's fine to say, but I want to hear what your alternative solution is. If you believe that prisons don't work, what are we going to do with criminals? Just let them roam around, free for all, do what you want to do? No, there has to be some sense of incarceration. It may not be in the current prison format necessarily. So, for example, one of the things that we know throughout the years of prison reform is that you can't just lock people up with no hopes of offering them any sort of rehabilitative programs. And we know that that is necessary. That is a necessary component of imprisonment. So a lot of times that is why people are actually requesting to be, like the judge will say, you have to go to therapy as part of your sentence. You have to work with the counseling services, you have to work with family services and undergo whatever treatment program they recommend. Because let us be very, very honest, most people who are incarcerated and in prison need some professional help, right? So it's not like, okay, you've done wrong, we're just going to throw you in prison and throw away the key. No, it's about, at some point, we know that you're going to be released. And that means that that means that, we've got to prepare you for that reintegration process. And if you get a long sentence, then I think in my mind, that is a longer period of time. That is a longer period of time. So again, that is a longer period of time that you should be getting some assistance, right? I mean, if you're got a 10-year sentence, a 5-year sentence, whatever, intense therapy is probably a good thing. And not just intense therapy, which, like I said, a lot of prisoners are struggling with issues, drug addiction, relationship issues, whatever, but also trying to help you when you get out to have some sort of a life skill that you can get back into. So training classes, customer service training, IT training, like all of that should be part of a comprehensive prison stay. Okay, so we no longer live in a world where we're just like, we're going to lock you up in a cold cell, make you do hard labor all day. You're in a cell by yourself 23 hours a day, no human contact, no human interaction. And we think that when you get out, you're going to be functionable. That doesn't work. We know that doesn't work. History has taught us that that doesn't work. Listen, the prison systems of yesteryear, even in the US and so on, have been very, very unsuccessful. So we should learn what doesn't work. And they've been very, very bleak as well in terms of the prognosis for prisoners. And the last thing you want on your hands, good morning, Gianna. Leroy laughs at singing at a canary. The last thing you want on your hands is someone who comes out of the prison system and is still in the mentality of, I'm a criminal and I don't know any other life. And unfortunately, there are career criminals. And sometimes they enjoy prison life because they're safe in prison. They have structure in prison. I mean, this sounds crazy, right? But you'd be surprised how many people go into prison and commit really petty crimes, but they actually function and do really, 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 really well in prison because they have that structure that they don't have on the outside. And there are people who need somebody to tell them, get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, go to breakfast. Then you're going to do artwork for an hour or watch a little bit of TV or whatever. There are legit people who require that structure, and they find that unfortunately, prison may be the only place that they get it because they themselves don't know how to structure their own lives. So when they get out, it's back to this criminal mentality. They don't know what to do with themselves. They can't help themselves, et cetera, et cetera. So prison can be a bit of a reprieve for some individuals. And once they get used to the penal system and they kind of grow up in that, they're just stamp it, career criminal, not much that you can do to start changing it. So that's why you have to address these things early on, from when they're teenagers, when they're youth, and when they first start to get in trouble. You have to let them understand that prison isn't really the place that you want to be. Like, don't you enjoy your freedom? Don't you enjoy getting up in the morning and not having to have someone tell you what to do, where you can decide what you're going to do for your day? But instead of, going out there doing drugs or burgling places or whatever. So the point being that we cannot accept, good morning, Barbara and Chris, buenos dias. We cannot accept any additional criminality being added to the penal system. So it is particularly egregious, and I don't know if we have this on our books or not, but we should, that if a prison officer in the conduct of his duty, so if he's in uniform and he commits an offense, and this is for any uniform officer, you should be getting more jail time than you would normally get if you were not in uniform or if you were not a police officer. It's like the one officer who tried to swindle the little old lady, remember, out of her house. The judge said, you're supposed to be an officer of the law. People are supposed to be able to trust you. And what you have done through that badge, through your title, through the trust that people have in police officers, is you have undermined that. You have used that position to try to take advantage of this little old lady. And that's exactly what he did. He was conning her in his police uniform. He was showing up claiming that he was here. I'm here to help you. Just sign your land over to me, kind of thing. And when he was claiming I'm going to come and take your statement from you, I need to see you, whatever, he was just seasoning up this poor old lady, grooming her, to get her ready to just hand over the entire farm to him. And so the judge was like, this is horrendous what you've done. You have misused and abused that title, and that's just wrong. So these officers, I'm afraid, fall into the exact same boat, where they have breached the trust of the people. So there's Rudolph Rambaran. And once that breach has occurred, it makes it that much more difficult for everybody else to come after them. Look at this fella. Everybody said, boy, he all dolled up. He got his little mustache nice and trim, looking suave. Suave rico. Yes, honey child, he looking good. Good morning, Julie. Good morning, Cecil. Says Sandra, if he continues to talk, they might have to shut him up. The world is in one mess. Too much greed. Make him talk, honey. Make him sing. Like I said, he is singing like a canary because those particular birds love to sing. He talking more than a Cayman parrot. Quack, quack. And he's naming names. So this is the first fallout. This fella, his name is, hold on now, let me get this name right because, child, these names, they be all kind of mixed up into the names. Let me just see. His name is, drum roll, please, Gusford Antonio Tulloch. Hello, Miss Darlene. Carson is here. We're talking about another officer arrested last night, Carson, with this whole drug operation at the prison. We don't have an age on him yet, but we soon get it. He goes by the name famous with 2 S's, Gus, and he is a promoter. Now, they got time on their hands. You got time to be a prison officer, a promoter, got a couple girlfriends. It's like, really? Y'all be doing the most. So he was arrested last night. The police have not made a statement yet. They've not said anything yet. But of course, CMR gets the goods. So here he is, arrested. I don't know who else Rudolph Rambaran is going to be naming. But like I said, he is talking. And I say, you know what? Make him keep talking, child. Talk all you want, Rudolph. And now that they have Gus, maybe Gus will start talking too. And we'll see who else is in the mix. Now, you know how it goes. Everybody always says, is this it? These are officers. Who else is involved? Do we have any members of the management team at the prison? Lord Jehovah, I hope not. But we need to do a clean out. Check all those 9 phones or how many phones he was arrested with and start checking his WhatsApp messages and y'all gonna see what's going on. Check everything on his phone, folks. Who was he talking to? Leave no one out of the potential loop. Everyone is a suspect if you work at the prison at this point. And even if you don't work at the prison, because the question becomes, where are these officers getting the drugs from? They're not growing it. They don't have a marijuana farm. So are they perhaps connected to a bigger enterprise? All these guys coming in, bringing drugs into the country, those canoes. Are these prisoners potentially facilitating that process? Where are they getting the marijuana from? So we need to find their supplier, and then we need to find the supplier's supplier, and that supplier's supplier, and so on and so forth. There's some big players in this country, with drugs. And a lot of times we just arresting the little fools who keep getting caught. But we need to know who else is involved and take them all down. Joy Sand says, I believe prison works for those that simply realize that they made a mistake and are sorry. And for hardcore criminal that just don't care. Plus, sometimes they're rejected in society when they come out and they feel they have no hope. You know what, Joyce, I got to be honest with you. I personally feel that in Cayman, we do a fairly good job of reintegrating our criminals in the sense that, child, they can commit almost any offense, and the next week we got them out, hugging them up, having family reunions for them, and the most. Caymanians are very, very forgiving people. Okay, we'd be like, "Oh, you're out. Let's have a welcome back party for you," as though you were on some sort of a vacation. Felicia, good morning. Leroy says that they need to clean some of those departments up from top to bottom and get rid of the corruption. Yes, child. What a mess is right, Evelyn. Remembering to take my antibiotics today. I told you guys I'm the worst at these, right? Lord, I've been taking them at all hours, forgetting to take the afternoon one, taking the night one. I'm just like, let me just at least finish the course. I might not have taken it at the exact time, but I got 2 tablets left, so I just need to finish it today. And then we need to work on getting that tooth sorted out. Maria, good morning. Catherine is here. Miss Sue is here. Miss Jan says, come on, new government. Clean up the mess. Get rid of all of this. All can do it. The new government has their hands full, to say that's an understatement. They have their hands full. And these are the sort of things that they don't necessarily get directly involved in. Obviously, they have to send a very strong message to the agencies, the prison, the police, that they are supportive of these types of things. And I'm surprised, like, government ministers, they don't be saying nothing. This is just an overall statement, not picking and pack, and certainly not picking on the progressives anymore, because they can't take it. They're on the farm. But generally speaking, when stuff like this happens, you realize that they don't have anything to say. A statement will come from the ministry, the chief officers, but our elected officials, and I feel like at this stage, I need to write a handbook for these elected officials, for them to really pay attention to what works. They don't come out and make any kind of statements. All right, stick a pin. Remember the exorcism thing in the schools? What happened to that? Oh, no. When was that? Hold on. Let me look it up. Oh, no, we can't hear nothing about this. That happened back in May. Okay, the first week of May. Now we're at June. Oh, yes. I was going to say we're in July, right? We're not in July yet. So it's been over a month. What's her name? What's the school teacher's name again? Over at Red Bay Primary, Vicky Frederick has been put on some kind of leave, and a few other people. Next thing you know, we're going to just hear silently that, oh, she's returned. No idea of what happened. No idea of what steps were taken to protect. Nothing out of this so-called investigation. See, this is where I have an issue with governments. You've informed us now after we broke the story that yes, there'll be an investigation. Great. Fantastic. Now we would like to know, what is the outcome of that investigation? Is that too much to ask? You know what I'm saying? Is it too much to ask whatever happened to this situation? Here's another example. Charles Whitaker with the boxing gym. That incident pops off. Where is the Minister of Sports? He needed to come out and say, this is an unfortunate situation, and I'm working closely with the parties for a resolution. Something. Communicate with the people. I don't know if they get advice from civil servants on how to handle crisis situations, but they fail consistently at crisis management. They don't have a clue. Their reaction is to just hide behind closed doors and, I guess, whisper and talk about it. I don't know. Address the people. The people voted you in, and they want to hear from you. They don't want to hear from your chief officer. They don't want to hear from whatever, who else you got in your ministries. I get it. The chief officer is really the ones making the decisions. Ministers are there developing policy and doing stuff at a higher level. And a lot of times they're just taking guidance from the chief officers. I want to talk about this situation here in a second. I hope Johan Moxham is actually listening to the program. If he isn't, we'll tell him to tune in. Because we were having a discussion recently with him, and he made some fair points about this. I think that this is really a good point. He said, I'm questioning the efficacy of some of the decisions that are already being undertaken by the PAC government, only because how do you get in there and you continue to work with the same people in the positions of chief officers and so on that have failed us in previous situations? And I think to myself, right. So on the one hand, we don't get into the business of having the political arm, the elected officials, hire and fire anybody. They don't do that. However, they also need to be looking at how effective an individual may have been in their previous role as a chief officer, given the minister's advice. So the whole port situation was one example that Johan gave. He's like, Strandbaden might be a nice enough guy, but we know that he was less than honest about the port and about that arrangement and what was going on with the cruise ships. And he was potentially making decisions that were going to benefit the cruise ships more than the people of the Cayman Islands, and potentially even destroying our environment. So how do you keep someone like him in that exact same position when you go in as a PAC administration and say, we want to have these changes? It is a bit of a valid question. And then I ask myself, well, should civil servants, because, now you're saying to the ministers that they should have the power to choose and refuse who they want to work with at a very high ranking level of the civil service. And we've seen where that has gone wrong before with Mr. Bush, because he comes in and he don't like the color of your hair and he's going to get rid of you and have you sit on the sideline for years and then get $1 million pre-retirement payout. So you can't do it in that way, and you can't have it function in that way. So the question then becomes, what is the right way to do it? Do these positions need to become advisory roles so that politicians get to pick advisors when they go in? I could kind of see how that could get a little bit muddy as well. So quite honestly, I don't know what the solution is, but I do understand the concerns. Emma, I'm going to come back to your point here in a second. So I definitely do understand the concerns, because if the system has been failing, it's not just the politicians who are to blame. It's also the civil service who has to take some responsibility, because they're the ones who are coming up with a lot of the policy, and they're the ones who are rolling it out. And I've heard civil servants say, listen, a politician is only here for 4 years. If they're lucky, they might get a second term. As a civil servant, I'm here for a lifetime. Really? And they have this attitude that they are running the show and they are doing the most. And, ultimately, then that means that we need to hold them responsible for the failures of this country. Now, there's a lot of hard-working civil servants out there. Do not get me wrong for 1 minute. And I don't want to paint the civil service with a wide brush, but there's also a lot of them that need to be shipped out. Okay. And the MO in the civil service is a little bit like, we never fire anybody. No matter how bad you are at your job, we don't fire you. Think about it. Where's Mary Rodriguez? Does she still work for government? she's one of those examples, and I don't really know Miss Mary. She always seemed like a really nice person. But do you guys remember some of the failures under her watch, including when she was in education and she instructed people to doctor a report that we had paid for? We paid probably hundreds of thousands of dollars for someone to come and assess our educational system and give us feedback. And it wasn't a good report. So then to soften the blow of what the report actually said, which reflected poorly in her administration, the civil servants there in education, in the education department and the ministry, she turned around and doctors the report. Anybody else anywhere else in the world would have been arrested for that sort of thing. Basically, you've uttered a false document. That's when you should arrest somebody for that sort of thing. They didn't do that. They shifted around into a promotional job, put her somewhere else, continue to pay her. And I don't even know where she's at now. I don't even know what she does. Oh, shit. Oh, man. What? Somebody just said she's a chief advisor for the deputy governor. Lord, I tell you, you get promoted when you screw up in the civil service. Sometimes I do have to shake my head because I've never seen anything like it. What a hot mess. Advisor? NOSA? Chief advisor? Lord Jesus, take the bus. Okay. Anywho, well, that question was promptly answered. Thank you so much for that keen viewer who's listening. All right, so nothing I can do about that hot mess of a situation, but let's keep it moving. Lord have mercy. Triple C. I didn't even have a chance yesterday. I'm going to talk about the website. We've had people trying to hack our website. So, we got resources, thank the Lord, to lock it down. So if you go to the website now, you're going to get this little message saying that you're being redirected. It's to stop all this fake, it's a DDoS attack, to stop all this fake traffic from trying to take the website down. Apparently they inundate you with traffic to shut the website down so it's not working. So they impacted us briefly yesterday. I had my little friend over at the Compass call me and said, "What's going on? Did you forget to pay the bill?" I'm like, "Honey, please. We're not going to be in that situation. We pay our bills around here." I said, "No, we didn't forget to pay the bill. We're having some technical issues." And then once we discover that it's probably security related, we put a little bit of a barrier between us and the other party or parties, or whoever's trying to take on this attack. So anyway, what was I going to say? Mary Rodriguez, there's something I was going to say about that. It'll soon come to me. Oh, yeah. So the school, Triple C. So the evening before, we put up the Triple C article, yes. And I'm reading some of the comments on social media. And it occurs to me that no one wants to admit that Triple C is a failing school. Let me try to get this, okay? And I'm trying to find the comments here so we can go through some of these in a second. There have been 2 consecutive reports from the so-called experts that have said that Triple C is failing. The parents and the good people of the Cayman Islands who are paying good money to send their children to this institution are refusing to believe the experts that this school is failing. Why? What is the point of having inspectors come in and do their job? Right? If at the end of the day, we are not going to believe them when they say X. Yeah. So, inspectors say Triple C is failing. Let me see. Have they actually put out the report yet? Because we're going to have to go through it next week in detail. And then all of y'all want to be experts, not listening to nobody, because everybody's an expert. Don't want to believe it. Well, it seems like the school themselves might actually be believing it because they have gotten rid of the principal. If they didn't believe it, I think they would have continued to keep her employed. Good morning, Miss Gladys. So you see what the problem is now? We have systems in place. We talk about these inspection reports. The Office of Education Standards has things that they're looking for. And then when they do their job, we still tell them, and there's a number of reports that have come out, June the 9th being the last one. So I think we're still waiting on Triple C's report. We've got Lehman Scott from June the 4th, Montessori by the Sea, Little Trotters. They're going through all of these schools. And they're telling you what works and what doesn't work. And when they tell us, the good people, what doesn't work, we become the experts. And we're going to tell them that they're wrong. Caymanians, what is wrong with us? You know we're not easy. Let's back it up a little bit here. I just want to read a few of your comments because this ties in with the point that I'm trying to make here about when we're trying to fix a system. How can we fix it if we refuse to even admit what is happening in the system? So let me just bring this up. 1 second here. All right, so here we go. These are some of the comments. Can you guys see those? Yes. Let me see here now. Okay, why would they have a British national inspecting American schools? Because they gave all of them failing grades, especially if they taught anything about the Bible. This is Aldine having this opinion. Even went as far as to tell out of the schools that everything out of them is Jesus, and the response they got is, we won't apologize for that. That is an ill-informed position, Miss Aldine, with all due respect, and I'm glad that Anne, who is a former educator herself, she's been in the classroom, took the time to respond and said the following. CIS is an American school and did not receive a failing grade. So you see, when you automatically assume that, oh, they're failing us just because we're Caymanians. Elizabeth says she's getting an echo. Anybody else having an echo? I don't think. So Lenny says video feed is bad and videos per plat. Let me see what's going on. It's good now. Probably just the internet, y'all. I don't know what to say. Buenos dias, Alba. So let me try to understand this, right? When people come in and they say, okay, if you get it wrong, right? And you get a report that says this is how you're failing, these are the improvements that you need to make, then you want to criticize those very people to say that, they don't understand what we're doing here. They don't understand us. Now, I'm not saying that they always get it right, but I do think experts who actually come in and do a proper examination of the schools. And they know what criteria they're looking for. They know what formula works and what is a good school. If they tell you that a school is failing on more than one occasion, I believe that you need to listen to them. And we need only look at what we are producing as proof of that. Miss Lucille, thank you for tuning into the program. Miss Lucille says we only complain about the public system. Well, it seems to me that the community, the parents and everybody else in this community are only happy to accept that public schools are failing. It's not that private schools are necessarily doing any better. But when they are failing, and the report says they are failing, we start to make excuses for them. Oh, well, why do we have a British national? Could be because we're a British territory, but anyway, why do we have a British national expecting American schools? What difference do you think that makes? That does not make a bit of difference. The formula for successful schools remains the same, whether you're British, American, Chinese. A lot of us are looking to Europe, talking about what they're doing halfway around the world. Somebody mentioned the Netherlands, or not the Netherlands, where was that earlier? About how they're releasing people from prison. They're shutting down prisons because they don't have anybody to put in prisons. You think just because they're in Europe that we can't learn something from them? Of course, we have to keep it in the context of our Caribbeanness, because that comes with certain degree of uniqueness. I agree with that. However, this idea that because you're English, because you're an American, because you're this, because you're from Jamaica, because you're from Trinidad, you don't have any clue what's going on and what's a formula. And when you look at someone who doesn't quite fit the bill, that they are a failure. And then the parents hunker down to say that no, Triple C isn't failing. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves. You should be ashamed of yourselves that you're paying your good money every single term to put children in these schools. And I don't care. I'm not picking on Triple C. I don't even know anybody who works there. It don't matter to me the name of the school. If you get a report that says this school is failing, they're no good, they need to do this, they need to do that, why are we not heeding? Why are we continuing to defend based on ridiculousness? We don't care if they are a Christian-based school and they teach religion. That ain't the point. Government has a lot of religious elements in their school as well. They teach religious education. They believe in prayer. In this country, we are not prepared to separate our religious beliefs from the operation of government and oftentimes even private sector. But you can't sit down and allow this to be the excuse that you're going to use. Take a look at what we are producing. We have children who are ill-equipped to compete in the real world. Now, y'all know I sit here every single day and I go hard for Caymanians. I had a gentleman message me yesterday and he said, listen, I'm an expat in this country. And I cannot disagree with you in most items. It's simple. It's simply the truth that your government must first prioritize Caymanians. And that's an expat telling me that. And, you know, I don't get on an anti-anybody format here. Because when I say Caymanians first, that's what I mean. And that doesn't mean that we have to put other people down. We don't have to treat them like third-class citizens. We don't have to treat them like dirt. It's about prioritizing the success of our own people. But when I also speak about prioritizing the success of our own people, that also means that we have to take accountability. We have to make sure that that goalpost is being reached, that we are attaining what we need, formal education and otherwise. So I would be concerned if I was a parent at Triple C. I wouldn't be defending it. So Anne says, CIS is an American school and did not receive a failing mark. They don't rank school curriculums. They don't rank schools, sorry, on the curriculum, but on teaching and learning and on attainment. There are many other categories, but good teaching is good teaching and attainment is attainment, whether you spell it color or color. And I loved how Anne did that, because she made the example, whether you're spelling it the American color or the English color, that does not matter. That's not what they're grading you on. So this thought process that we can only have English people or American people judge an American school is completely ridiculous. So then Aldine kind of buckles down a little bit and says, oh, is that the one that they call rich people school? That's Cayman International School. And Aldine, I hope you're listening, because she went to Truth for Youth, it says here, and reminds her that 2 of her government high schools were just ranked as good, which is amazing, and the result of hard work. I can assure you that neither of those are rich people schools. Also, the students at government high schools take CXCs, which is a Caribbean examination, not a British examination. People, educate yourself. It is important to know what you're saying when you are making these types of comments. Olivier makes a point. If you keep with that narrative, there will never be any improvement. And that is the point. So everybody wants to be skeptical. Y'all hiding out and you're in denial. Keep being in denial. You hear me? That's why you have politicians now who can't stand up and tell you the truth, because they know you're not going to listen anyway. And that is not how you will vote for them or how you will make judgments calls on the way forward for this country. Prisoners, prison officers, breaking the law, doing the most, and we're just sitting here as a country going, wow, what is going on, y'all? This is crazy. Look at what went down yesterday in broad daylight. I mean, what the hell was that? You have a literal shootout in the middle of the day. Remember just a couple weeks ago, we had that in Jamaica. Now that ended a little bit differently, obviously, because you had people who were shot and killed right in the middle of the day, and the car was shot like 20 times or whatever. We didn't quite have that yesterday, but listen, if y'all think that we're far off from having a kind of afternoon like that here in the Cayman Islands, I'm asking you to please wake up.
I don't know, even we heard when the shot went off, but they say like he had fire after we shot the car. I don't know.
See Sandra already no more.
You're right. And then police probably must be shot at him. But then you don't see no blood now, nothing going on, so I don't know.
Alright, well I gotta go to my meeting, but hopefully he'll be okay.
I really hate
him.
Yeah, we can't see man because he head down that side is on the foot. But he was driving that like a red car. Yeah.
So there's a sting approach. You see all them undercover.
Mm-hmm.
Take off the mask, man. I want to see who he is. I don't trust them. If my own father were as one of them.
Boy, all kind of commentary going on in those videos. Lord Jehovah. So yesterday afternoon, shortly after midday, things started to pop off in Georgetown off Sound Road in the vicinity of A.L. Thompson's and Welly's, like right in there. And there were all sorts of reports coming in. First, we heard that A.L. Thompson's was robbed. I was like, let's wait a minute to see if that's actually the case. Turns out there was an operation underway, and they were chasing someone, or had apprehended someone eventually, who they believed had a weapon. Now, the police contacted me, and I want to talk about this for a little bit. Certainly not to out the police in any way, but to hopefully have them understand the difficulty of what I do and what sometimes they want me to do, because I can't always do what the police want me to do. So I got a certain phone call as this was popping off saying, "Oh, Sandy, we're asking you not to put up any videos about this story and not to cover this story." What kind of request is that? That's an impossible request. Now, I'm here to assist the authorities in getting these criminals off the street. So anything that I can do in that regard, I'm happy to do. And there are times when we have not published a story and we've held back because it could compromise an ongoing investigation. This can't be one of those times. You are having an incident in broad daylight in town. Everybody messaging me. The first message I got, they sent me the picture. They don't know what's going on. The road is blocked off. These guys are standing up there with all these big guns. Like I said, I don't know if they're what kind of assault rifles they are, but whatever they are, they're going to catch your attention when you see the policeman came out and standing up blocking the road with that. You're like, ooh, what's going on here? And of course, the natural reaction, I think in that video, that the guy was he actually, somebody else is complaining about the quality. I think it's just the internet today. I don't know what's going on with the internet, but someone else was saying to me that I think in that video, did he just call my name? I'm like, I thought I heard his, let me just do a speed test and see what's going on. I thought I heard him call my name, but most people now when they're recording, they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna be sending this straight to CMR. I got multiple videos multiple times yesterday. And I think the one video that was of particular concern to them was the one where someone was doing a lot of commentary about, oh, these are unmarked cars and this and that. And they're like, we have just had our staff now compromised. And I'm like, that ain't got nothing to do with me. But you have a much bigger reach. I'm like, rest assured that I have received this video at least 25 to 30 times already. Because this is Cayman, y'all. It don't take long for something to go viral. You see, somebody just sent me the exact same video again. I'm sitting here talking about it, and I've just gotten both videos again. I've seen all of those videos. Out of respect for the police, I'm not going to play the one that is in question. But I think everybody pretty much knows at this point in time that those are unmarked vehicles. And that, in fact, let me just pull up another one I think we can share. That, in fact, a lot of what happened yesterday was some sort of operation with the firearms unit. If you don't want to have your position compromised, the only thing I can say is, number one, have them travel in unmarked vehicles when they're going to take this type of thing, which is obviously very difficult or even impossible. Or number two, you do it under the cover of darkness, which means they're less likely to be all of these eyes. Because you literally have people at work walking out from A.L. Johnson's, walking out from all sorts of other buildings, taking footage. I got the footage of when the exact moment when they took him down and when they arrested him. That can't be helped when you do an operation in broad daylight. So the takeaway is the police are friends when they're doing it the right way and when they're doing the right thing. But there's certain requests that they are making that are impossible. I'm in the news business. So my job is to report what is happening, kind of as it's happening. That's what has made CMR different from other people. So there was a time when that story would show up in the paper until the following day. So this is 2021. CMR is coming to 4 years later on this month. Those times have changed. And it's just not me that's doing it. There's other people out there that get something happen, we're on the scene. Or we have people on the scene that is video footage. And so the videos have circulated, they have made the rounds a gazillion times. It's already too late. The cat is already in the bag. And I think that this says, I'm going to refresh my screen here in a second. Okay, I'm getting a lot of complaints about the stream, so definitely something is going on with the internet. So let me just do a quick refresh, okay? So hold on, stand by. Let me just refresh here because I do see that the internet says connection is unstable. All right, hold on. Okay. Hopefully that will mean some improvements. Someone said when they were on mobile earlier, for them it was better. I do know, curiously enough, that Digicel was having a little bit of an issue yesterday, I think with calls and stuff. And even my little mobile device was having a bit of an issue. Obviously here at home, I'm using Flow. So I don't know if there's something going on the networks recently, but yeah. So unfortunately, I can't promise not to put out news as it's happening. I don't want to try to compromise the police because I think their firearms unit, their undercover unit, obviously they're doing a good job, but they also have to appreciate and understand what that means when everybody is a roving reporter. CMR can't not report what's happening because then people are going to be like, why am I reading CMR again? That's the point. I don't know what else to tell you. Let's look at another video. And again, I'm not sharing the one that they have a problem with. But like I said, that's already in wide circulation anyway.
First, I see them sitting here K1 Master.
But they're not shooting you.
I'm tired and shoot.
This year, they know everything about this sitting here. We're so much of them the panic.
Yeah, man, and chill.
It's somebody we are giving information proper. So much of them the panic that means you know they're serious.
But then they're not need to do you. Then the whole party man, then the whole man already.
Yo, watch out, man. Criminal, man.
Yeah, but at 12 o'clock, you just take him and galangan sa pula sa traffic na ito. Simple.
You're not getting shot, man.
And then need to hold up now. That's just really crazy people that are going to do. My boy, I did it.
They say this is sitting up on full jail. Then you have full setup this.
You shoot out the back tire.
Yeah, man, them cheer him from railway.
Oh, cheer him, man.
But a traffic man, then just see if you just look at the place.
All right, folks. So there you have it. It's amazing the commentary that people engage in when they're doing these videos. And I must say, the one that the police do not want shared is very, very interesting, precisely because of the commentary. Super interesting indeed. But all of this went down yesterday. For one man, I should say, I thought it was something else. So Sue wants to know, where is this Jamaica? Listen, this is Cayman. Wake up, y'all. This is the Cayman Islands. I think that from the policing perspective, maybe they need to take a page out of Jamaica's book, where these agents who are involved, these officers who are involved in these special units and whatever, they need to start wearing protective face coverings so that we don't necessarily see who they are. There are things that they need to do to protect themselves. Yes, I get this is Cayman, but if you're going to do that kind of operation in broad daylight, Aliano lets us know that it's not an AK-47, it's an M4 derivative, medium caliber, 5.56 millimeter. Child, I don't even know what any of that means, except that's a big gun. Thankfully, they only shot out the tire and nothing else. Someone said, oh, they carry that kind of weaponry. I thought that they only carried handguns. I'm like, y'all don't know the ammunition the police got just in case. Be messing around with them, you get yourself shot and killed. Miss Darlene makes the point, Sandy, tell the police to ask CNN or any other news to don't report. They can't. So why are they asking that of CMR? Yes, it is I think it's a situation of growing pains in this country. Things have changed. And all of the agencies, not just the police, I'm not picking on the police. I think all of the agencies are trying to understand and catch up with this new world. It's like the other day, CNN had on the video. I don't know if you guys saw this crazy story or not, but some kids were shooting at police. I think they killed a police officer with AK-47s that they had somehow, it was dismantled and then they rebuilt it. Americans are crazy, y'all. With guns, how does a child know how to reassemble an AK-47? Seriously. But anyway, 2 kids, and I think one of the kids ended up getting shot. I didn't really follow the story too closely, but I do know that the shooting caught a lot of attention in the state because they were actually shooting at police. So Florida kids face first-degree murder charge after a police officer was killed. And they're also, I think, going to be facing, what's it called? Attempted murder as well. So body cam, here's a headline from The Independent. Body cam video reveals children opening fire on police with stolen guns, including an AK-47 in violent standoff. These videos are all over the internet, folks. When I was listening to it more on CNN than I was actually watching it. But when I was listening to it, I heard them say, this video, some people may find disturbing that we're about to play. And they actually showed the video of these children, a 12 and 14-year-old, engaging in this shootout with deputies. A 14-year-old girl and a 12-year-old boy, and now facing attempted murder charges after police say that the children walked away from a group home, broke into a house, and used an AK-47 and other guns to shoot out with Florida deputies. So the girl was wounded, and she was in stable condition at the Arnold Palmer Hospital for Children in Orlando. This is just absolutely crazy. But the point that I'm making in terms of news media, what can you do? News media is going to get these photos. And in fact, photos, video footage, the works. Everybody's recording everything. That's why now we have Floyd. Oh gosh, what's the young man's name again? George Floyd. Everybody got to see this man literally die under the knee of a police officer. This is the world that we live in. You cannot stop it. You've got to understand how it works, perhaps even embrace it to a certain extent. And I'm sure there are times that police stations around the world, police departments around the world, just have to suck it up. They're not happy about it, but what can they do? This is what people do. People put the video out there and they want to discuss the video and what went down. Big shout out to Ed. I see Ed here. Where was that comment just now from Ed? Joining us from Ed. Where are you at right now? You're in, is it Scotland? I can't remember. Ed's got a little toddler that's keeping him busy. He had a question. I'm trying to re-find it. Ed. Sometimes the comments go by so quickly. Oh, there we go. What's the public photography laws in the Cayman Islands? Well, it's like anywhere else. If you're in public, it's fair game. This is why last week, remember there was a motorcycle accident in West Bay? I think that was last week, Friday, where a young girl, she's lucky to be alive, got licked off of her bicycle, her motorbike, there close to the shores in West Bay. And she messaged us and she's like, oh, I want you to take that down. I'm like, okay. And we would do that because, like, if you come at me with a reasonable request for a reasonable reason, then perhaps we can talk. But when you just say you need to take it down, I'm like, why? Oh, well, I don't want my mom to see that it was me. I think your mom might already know about this incident. If she doesn't, well, she needs to keep a better eye on you. You don't get to say that you are interested in maintaining your privacy when it comes to an incident that happens on a public roadway. You're not entitled to any privacy. Okay? This is not happening in your privacy of your home. If you want privacy, you stay home and you enjoy the privacy inside your own house. Once you come outside, it's all fair game. So I said, unfortunately, we don't remove photos, especially not for that reason, but I'm glad you're okay and you're alive. Then she says, but it's of me. It doesn't matter who it is. Okay, it's of you. Okay. And your point is, but it's a photo of me and I don't want it published, but it's a photo of you in public. People understand the rules. In fact, even if you are in your private car, but your private car is part of the roadway and you're doing something that's visible to other drivers, they can take a picture of you or a video, and it's fair game. Just be mindful of what you do in public. That's the only advice I can give you. Sorry. Okay. So, right. So at the end of the day, that's what it is. And it just is what it is. So, you know, we all have to suck it up a little bit. Thank you, Sandra. She says, you're doing a wonderful job. This mess is so deep. Government must stop being the enabler. Keep the hammer down. Something's got to give. So Jasara says they cover their faces when they want. Well, maybe they should. And I understand the point that maybe they're compromising the vehicles. And what I would say in relation to that is you might have to repaint those vehicles or change them out. Like there should be, at the end of the day, access. The police should have access to different types of vehicles and the works. Like sometimes I've actually seen people in the street and I know that they're undercover officers. You know, they kind of have a certain aura about them and how they conduct themselves. So all I can tell you is the police should have an arsenal of vehicles, even for an island this small, that they probably trade in and out. Go buy a couple new ones from the car dealerships that are selling all these rentals that they no longer need. That's the most I can tell you. I mean, the police have to get creative about how to protect themselves. You can't rely on the media not publishing something as your guarantee of protection, because the content is out there in the public anyway. And if I got it a gazillion times, I think the criminals probably got it as well. And they know exactly which cars now belong to the police. So change them out. Repaint them. I mean, there has to be some kind of technology out there that allows you to get temporary paint on a vehicle. Look into it. Use the technology that is available. Aliano says it's all over YouTube. Of course. I wouldn't expect anything different. Stephen, good morning. How are you? Louisa, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, boy, those kids in this, listen, kids grow up very differently all over the world. And I don't think that Cayman is there yet. We don't normally have 12-year-olds involved in hardcore criminal activity. I hope to God we never have that. We need to make some changes, though, because if we don't, we're headed in that direction. But yes, in other places in the world, kids grow up surrounded by violence and they know how to use these weapons and they'll shoot and kill anybody. It's unfortunate, but that's the life that they live. So Louis says the internet sucks this morning. My apologies. Not much I can do about that. But yes, you know, by the way, the point that Jonathan makes here, which is basically we can't discount suspicions of the British school inspectors being inherently biased against faith-based schools. I would believe that, Jonathan, except every school in Cayman, in my opinion, is a faith-based school. Prep is a faith-based school. They're associated with the Church of God, or Emsley Memorial. The other church, Catholic, hello, the very name, they're a Catholic school. So I would believe that if one, Triple C was the only school that got a failing pass, and number two, they were the only school that was faith-based. Every single school in Cayman is a faith-based school, even government, as far as I'm concerned. So I do not think that that is really what's at play here. Because all of the other faith-based schools, I mean, listen, Prep is a faith-based school, and they get great marks all the time. Most of these schools have a lot of integration. I don't know about Wesleyan, all the other schools, but there are a lot of faith-based schools in this community, and they're not all getting these weak passes. And I have spoken a separate and apart from these reports, Jonathan and others, I have actually spoken to administrators, teachers, and so on. Some have worked at that school and some have not. And they have said that the school definitely needs some improvements. In fact, a lot of them have said that they would not send their children there. And they have discouraged family members from sending their children there. And sometimes family members didn't listen to them. And then they ended up regretting it. All I'm saying is take everything with a grain of salt, but don't just discount something just because you believe a certain way or you think someone automatically has a bias towards you. That is not always the case. It's hard to take criticism, and it's hard to accept that sometimes we are failing and sometimes we're getting it wrong. But when it comes to our children, what would be the purpose of them failing a school if it was actually really doing well? What would be the purpose? Obviously, the parents don't care. They're still going to be sending kids to Triple C. So it's not like it's going to impact their bottom line. Are they just picking on Caymanian children? You know, I think certain things like school inspection, it's good to not have Caymanians involved because there would be a bias. So the opposite would probably happen. And they told them the areas that they do well in and the areas that they don't do well in. Read the report. All of you who are saying that, oh, there's could be this perceived bias. My question to you is, have you actually read the report or any reports on how the schools are actually marked? What have they had to say? And what do you think about what is actually in the report? Good morning, Delcy. Elizabeth says kids are playing GTA and learning. Sue, no way, not Cayman, but UK and the USA. They do have young boys and girls involved in bad crimes. Don't ever say not Cayman. Because remember what I just said? When they had that shootout in the UK and Jamaica the other day, we're all like, oh God, not Cayman. Well, here we are. Yesterday happened. Never say never. You don't know. You just do not know. You can't say not Cayman, folks. Not anymore. Things have changed. And this is our new norm and what we're having to live with. Ogre says it's different here in Europe unless you have permission. You should not distribute, copy, display, or reuse someone else's photo. Well, someone else's photo is a different situation. But the people who are taking the video, so that is more of a copyright issue that you're speaking of, Ogre. What I understood Ed's question to be was actually the taking of footage and video when you're in public. So these are two very, very different things. So yes, we have those same distribution and protections in place when it comes to copywriting. So if you take someone's photo without permission and reuse it, that's different. What we have happening, however, Ogre, in situations like this, is people are taking the video with the intent of sharing it with us, and it becomes public domain. And there is, especially for news operators, certain things that are fair play when it comes to it being in the public domain. So that is a very different situation. And the police can't come and tell you, or anybody else for that matter, that something that takes place in the public domain cannot be shared. And we all have different levels of sensitivity. So I see videos all the time that are difficult to look at, but I will watch them. And there are people who I know would never watch them and they don't want to see them and they get upset if we were to ever post certain videos of that nature on our platform. So we've learned our lesson over the years. Certain things is pushing the envelope a little bit too much. And everybody's, guidepost for what is too much is different. We have always said that we're a little bit harder and colder than most, and we're really edgy. We just put it out there, and you, the viewer, can decide whether you wish to read it or view it or whatever. So we don't get ourselves too involved in censorship as much as others do. Probably the only exception is children. If they are, not probably, the only exception is children if they are being put in harm's way. But I even remember, for example, when there was a picture, I think it was a picture, not a video, of a child, might have been a video being winded up on and whatever, gyrating on some of these carnival events, right? And we shared that because we needed to have this social discussion about how is it that we can do that to children, put them in adult situations, dancing up in them and whatever, and encouraging that behavior and not see the correlation of that type of action and the over-sexualization of our children, which is a very dangerous thing for them. So when they get up and they do a video and they're talking about sex and all this, we were like, oh my God, we're all shocked. We're all surprised. What are they doing? They're not supposed to be having sex while they're in high school. Why are they talking about it? Pump the brakes. This is real life. This is what's going on. But remember when we shared a couple years ago, the video of the 5-year-old child being gyrated on by an adult And y'all didn't see nothing wrong with that. Oh, that's just a carnival, whatever. Connect the dots, people. Right? And that was the whole purpose of sharing that. So that incident is full-fledged and public. Everybody saw it. Some people recorded it. If that child was severely being harmed and there was some criminal activity taking place, then we wouldn't have shared that video. So sometimes you do have to make a judgment call on what is going to go out there. And anytime we can, we try to protect the identity of children, but that's not always possible in terms of like even an editing, a video perspective. We have some young people right now who want to talk to us about the sexual assault, inappropriate touching at the government schools. And we're trying to arrange it so that they can do the interview in a safe manner and be protected, their identity protected, their voice change, whatever it takes. But we still need to have the discourse. We need to have the discussion. Ms. Darlene says we have some of those same young criminal-minded youth in Cayman for a very long time. Just not a lot of it is reported because of the laws to protect them. Miss Lucille says, good point, Sandra. You're right on. Good morning, Jackie. Magdalene says, but these inspectors are not even ad hoc. They know when the inspectors are coming. Magdalene, you're speaking too much sense. And it's not even about being ad hoc when you think about it, Magdalene, because if you are teaching your curriculum in a particular style, in a particular way, right, and you believe and you think that that's the right way, you're not going to change it, even when the inspectors are coming. Now, some people pretend when inspectors come, I think, but inspectors have to have that gift of, okay, I can look at what's happening here and see, is this something new that you're doing with these kids? And that's why they all look confused. Or is this your normal way of being, your normal, So they go in and they observe the environment. They also speak to teachers. They speak to administrators. They speak to management. They speak to parents. So a lot of times parents are perfectly happy with what they think is happening in the schools and the level of education that their children are obtaining because they just don't know any better. So the inspectors would know that you cannot take a linear approach to inspecting any sort of a school. So you can't base it just on what the parents think, because the irony of CCC is the last report, which I'm still waiting on this new one to come out. In the last report, they actually thought everything was okay. In fact, only 2% of parents at CCC are not happy with the quality of education that their children are getting. Can you imagine? That's crazy. 2%. Okay. That means that 98% are not in agreement with the report, basically, because they think their children get a great education and they just don't have a clue. If the parents don't know what is really happening with their children, what do you think the outcome is going to be? I'm just saying. We'll go through the report once it's available. But I think the school knows that they're in trouble, and that's probably why they're looking for some new management, and why the old principal, Miss Mabel, what was her name, is no longer there. Simple, really. They didn't admit it the first time during the first report, but with 2 failing reports back to back, you might want to start to pay attention. Judy, thank you so much for joining us. Judy says, Jonathan Eden, it's indeed possible the UK inspectors may be biased against faith-based education. Based on current climates in the UK, I suspect inspectors from any country may have the same biases since science curriculum, for example, can often be compromised on a religious perspective. So the issue comes down to ensuring the basics of each subject are being imparted successfully, and this is judged on objective achievement scores, So if the inspector implies teaching is muddled by religious, and then they got cut off. Sorry about that. I don't know. Like I said, we need to read the report because a lot of people are saying that, but I don't know that that's the conclusion that the inspectors have come to. What I believe they said the last time is that they do a good job with the religious part of it. So they get that right. So if they were just teaching just religion and that's all they were judging them on, then they would be an excellent school. But no school in this world, unless you're in a seminary, is teaching just religious. You're supposed to be teaching the sciences and English language skills and, you know, all these other things, the skills that we need in the real world. And so if they're being judged holistically on those issues, that now is where the problem lies. But we will, like I said, once the report comes out, we will have a look at the report in detail because we need to. If we're saying, listen, they're being biased against us, then, you know, it is what it is. But let me see what's going on here. Okay, so just the authorities have contacted us, and I want to make this very clear here now. So they are saying that the second officer, and again, you know, if we get it wrong, we've gotten it wrong. So they are saying that the second officer has not been arrested. Now, this is interesting because our prison sources, who are always right, have said that he has been. So I'm just reading this message from them now. They're saying that he hasn't been. And so if he hasn't been formally arrested, then he hasn't been formally arrested. This would be hard for me to believe that there has not been something going on there where this story came out of. But if they tell us that, and that's the official position, then folks, that has to be the official position. And we will see certainly what comes of that. That is very interesting. Okay. This is a relationship that we have with the police. They don't always tell us things, but when they say no, that's not how it goes, then we have to say, okay, and we wait. And then we just wait and see what happens. So they're saying that he has not been. All right. Like I said, that's certainly news to us, and we will certainly update it. So they said they have made no additional arrest as of yet. We will continue to obviously keep a very close eye on that situation. And if he hasn't been arrested, then we will, without hesitation, issue an apology, and we will do a correction on that story. Jasara says, we the parents have to do an online survey, and sadly, some parents don't take part, but when the school has failed, they blame the teachers. Well, I think in this case, they're deciding not to blame anybody because they just refuse to believe the report. It is a very interesting situation, I must admit. Loretta says, Sandy, I have been there when inspection was going on at my daughter's school, and they asked parents questions. Yes, I mean, that's part of the process is that they will ask questions. Miss Brenda says what's happening in Cayman today is a result of a lack of foresight, planning, tuning out good advice from community members, except for personal gain. Many years ago, I kept telling colleagues to look around and see what was going on. I said it would destroy the fabric of our society, our children, and then our plantation. So much damage has been done already. I'm not sure if it can be reversed. And that's unfortunate, because I think Miss Brenda makes a point that sometimes you can't undo a situation. But hopefully it's not too late for corrective measures. Okay, so let's talk about our final topic of the day. Is what is happening in terms of our security at the airport. So now I don't know if you guys saw this story or not, but basically APS, which is one of the security companies at the airport, is having a difficult time paying their staff. So they sent out a message to staff yesterday saying that they're unable to pay them at this particular time. And essentially, they're asking them to just hold on and to just wait. Maybe you'll get paid on Tuesday. We're not sure yet, but we'll see. The other interesting thing is that conversation happened from the perspective of this WhatsApp chat group with all the security officers. And I think there's about 15 to 20 officers that are employed with this particular organization. And they have the management, which is the company's owned by Dwayne Seymour. I think he might be the only owner, but he has his friend Peter Canberry as a manager or something, helping in operations. And then I have heard that he has his sister and his niece. It's like a family business, I guess, all working in the business. So the niece is the one who sent out the message, and she said, "Oh, I hope this doesn't reach Cayman Mall Road." Well, there's no quicker way, folks, to have news reach us than say, "Don't make it reach us." Because right away people are like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you make it reach CMR? Like what's going on here that's shady? Now, listen, we've all had COVID issues. Every company is struggling as a result of that. Obviously, their workers, to the best of my knowledge, would be eligible for the tourism stipend. I don't know, and this is a question for the government. I don't know if APS is receiving, they're still getting paid something because obviously there are flights in and out and they're doing the security. So I don't know what the exact contract agreement is. They're probably making a little bit less because there are less flights. But this is a company who's paid normally over $100,000 a month from the Cayman Islands government, from the airline, right? That bill gets paid from Cayman Airways, I understand, is who actually foots the bill for the security services that they provide. And, now that COVID has happened, the airline industry has been literally destroyed overnight. There will be some fallouts from that. The thing that I found interesting about this situation, however, is we have to remember that this company has had some financial issues even before COVID. So do you guys recall when we did a story back in 2019 about a guy who'd worked there way back starting in 2005, and from 2005 APS was not paying his pension. So what would the excuse have been at that particular time? There wasn't any COVID back in 2005, folks. So what would have been that situation? I think what happens is if you've been struggling all along and you probably, had financial issues, then during a time like COVID, when things get really tight, those become a little bit more apparent. Someone said, listen, families have to eat too. Security guards have money to pay. Zambula says he can't afford to pay out because wifey is too busy getting sexy and hosting events, and he can't tell her to stop. Then he's on the back bench watching everything, so no more big dollars. Poor old Dwayne. Well, I don't know if he would have been taking any of his personal funds and injecting into the business in order to pay for staff. And I do know that, David, don't even go there. I do know that, at the end of the day, there are concerns about, like I said, the longstanding financial feasibility of his business and of the organization. And he can live as lavish a lifestyle as he wants if that's coming out of his own paycheck, because obviously he has a job as an MP. But I do think that people will look at him and think, you're not paying pension to your staff since 2005. Now that there's a pension holiday in place, although you have arrears of pension, you are still not even trying to catch up on those things. During COVID, I told you guys, the minister said to us, make sure that you pay your bills. And what does he do? He turns around his company and doesn't pay the insurance, because this was what he said. Ensure that you pay insurance if nothing else. I remember him sitting there during that press conference and making a big deal about it, saying, ensure that you pay your insurance if nothing else, because at the end of the day, if your employees get sick, and heaven forbid with COVID, he gave this whole spiel about why it's important to pay your insurance. And then his own workers were going to the hospital only to discover that they had no insurance coverage. That's crazy. It's crazy, and it's also criminal to not pay your staff. So how they decide that some people get charged with not paying pension and health insurance and other people don't remains a real puzzle. So Colleen says that he doesn't even like to pay his nannies and housekeepers. Well, now that's a different story, because obviously that's coming out of his own personal pay. And that would be very, very concerning if that's actually happening, especially for a guy who can throw a Super Bowl party with an open bar for constituents, right? And all this money is flowing. Everybody in the district is happy. Everybody's on the payroll. People are happy. And you keep reelecting people like this. I think we perhaps need to look a little bit closer at what is happening To the best of my knowledge, he has 5 children. 5 children is a lot of children to have to take care of financially. Even with one, I got to tell you, sometimes I'm looking at the bills going, wow, if you want your child to have a half decent life, you're doing swimming lessons and ballet, and they want to do a little extracurricular activities and this and that. It's like bills upon bills. When you got 5, multiply that times 5. So someone says, how can you have people work for you and not pay them? Seriously, I want anyone telling me that they can't pay me after I've done the work. The security guards have bills too. They have families to support, and they need to they have needs to meet just like everybody else. If you can't pay them, furlough them or let them go. So I think that is a valid point for sure. And it's unfortunate that APS is in this situation. I hope that they can sort themselves out. But yeah, at the end of the day, people need to get paid. They can't tell CUC that, oh yeah, well, can you wait another week to shut off my CUC because I can't afford to pay it? That's not how it works, unfortunately. And it definitely makes no sense for him to then be saying that, or the company to then be saying, oh, don't tell CMR because we're going to know what's going on. So there you have it, folks. I don't know what else to say, except that I hope for the sake of their workers, they are able to quickly sort it out and get them paid and get that under control. And as that viewer just pointed out, if they're not in the position to do so, if they can't afford to pay them, then you need to look at what is feasible for the company. The other thing that someone has mentioned to me is that, this company will produce an invoice for government. And under the last Minister of Tourism was told that he would instruct the airline to just pay the bill. Nobody was checking anything to verify what needed to be paid. They were just told just to pay the bill. And there are also a lot of people who have said that this needed to go out to tender for quite some time. And the government has refused to put out to tender the security for the airport that APS provides because the minister has made the argument that essentially his company has spent so much money his company has spent so much actual money and invested so much money in equipment that it wouldn't be fair to now put it out to tender to have other people get the contract. Not so sure I agree with that, because when you get a contract, you need to look at things like, what am I going to have to spend in staff, equipment, whatever. And that should be factored into when you get the contract. You don't get to have a monopoly for life just because you have purchased or leased or whatever the arrangement is, security equipment to carry out your job. So there's something amiss there. And I think that this PAC government, but of course now the thing is, if the PAC government says we need to put this out to tender, of course they're going to want to say, oh, PAC is playing politics because they don't like John. That's what he's going to jump on. But to make sure that people are getting value for money. And also government is indirectly supporting and paying a company who is non-compliant with the labor laws. Now, y'all think about that for a second. They're now saying that they can't pay their staff. I'm trying to find the exact message that they sent out. And they're now saying that in previous times, they are unable to pay pensions. So you have a company that is not compliant, and yet probably their only contract that they have is with the Cayman Islands government. And so when the government themselves are paying people, paying companies all this money, the very least that they should ensure is that those individuals are being compliant with the laws of the country. I mean, it almost sounds like a no-brainer to me, but that's the reality of what people are having to deal with. So tell me, am I wrong for saying that government should have standards with the companies that they decide to work with? So thank you. Zambula says, if you're one, you best work elsewhere because his money is being shortened. He should have let his wife stay at her job, but he want her to be a housewife and send stepchild to school. Then that's when he was a minister, imagine, send them go work. Well, I don't know. I don't even think him and the wife are together anymore, as far as I know. She's moved on. I hope it wasn't with the trainer, the COVID trainer, the donkey riding situation. But I don't know. But yes, I mean, I believe all of his children are private schools, and that ain't cheap. Y'all listen to me. No, sir. That is not cheap at all. So it's unfortunate. So the message said, good morning, everyone. As expected, payday should have been yesterday, and the company was unable, it says you able, but I think they meant unable, to stick with that commitment. That's more than a commitment, honey. As noticed at most end of month payrolls, we have immense difficulties in paying out staff. This is mainly because of the situation we find ourselves in with a closed border in a pandemic. Mainly? We try our best at the office, and personally, it has become a great strain and very uncomfortable for us. Imagine how your staff feel that they can't pay their bills. I'm trying to hold it together, and we are thankful for the tourism stipend some get, but this will end at some point. So you get a government contract and you have people working, and then you're talking about you are thankful for this tourism stipend when you can't even meet your own obligations as a company. Okay. If you say so. I have to wonder how many members of management have taken a pay cut at APS since the COVID situation. Just curious. I'm trying to hold it together. Okay, right. So we're working on all avenues to bring some relief until the borders opens. And I appreciate your patience and support over the last 16 months, as APS is a company with high esteem. I don't really think that's the case because you haven't been paying pension, but anyway, if you say so. We won't be paying out today. And for that, we apologize. And we will keep you posted tomorrow again. Thanks so much for all of your support. And I also applaud the supervisors for their leadership. God bless you and your families. I hope this message remains between APS staff and it doesn't reach Cayman Mall Road. Don't know who's real. Then another message. Good day, staff. I pray all are doing the best they can at this challenging time. The longer these borders are closed, the worse it will get in this country, not only for APS. People don't think that for months now, I've been looking into a lot of options to help relieve the company from this burden, but all has not been proven fruitful thus far. I'm still working as we speak in ways to solve our ever-present struggle. Unfortunately, we're unable to pay today. And worst case scenario is we will pay on Tuesday evening. I thank all of you. I thank all who have been patient, have been so patient, and I pray for all who believe it should happen. This part is ridiculous. And I pray for all who believe it should happen with a snap of a finger. God bless you all and thank you. What does that mean? I pray for all who believe it should happen with a snap of a finger. Well, you have a contractual obligation to pay people? What do you mean that should happen at a snap of a finger? Guys, please be patient and comprehend the situation. Have a blessed day, you all. And that was the APS security chat group messages that were received in relation to their pay. What a mess. Sue is absolutely right. That's the best that I can say about it. Julie says, what? Just asking for a friend, what is the purpose of these security companies? Well, they're supposed to be keeping us safe. Yes, this is the airport security company, Joseph. Absolutely. All right, folks. So again, we just want to end the show at this time. I've got to go check the court list. I think I need to be there today. There's some stuff going on. They're actually doing a site visit for one of the grand court cases for the drug importation. I don't know if we're permitted to go on location with those, but we will certainly inquire and find out. So we shall see how that goes. What a hot mess. Anyway, good folks, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Just a reminder that it is a long holiday weekend. I really hope that that means that you guys will be vigilant with road safety. Try not to have too many accidents, please, on the roadways. Take your time. Don't drink and drive. Let's not have any fatalities this weekend. It is the Queen's celebration on Monday. I don't know what's going to happen to Laval or how that situation is going to play out. We will just have to sit back and watch and wait. If she's going to be there, if she's going to be nice and not be there, I don't know. We shall see. Joseph said, God, I worked for them for years and they've been dirty. Well, like I said, we know that at least in one instance, and probably others, they have not paid this gentleman's. In fact, they never even set up a pension plan for him, and that was from 2005. He worked forever, got rolled over, left the jurisdiction, and he's still not paid his money in full to this day. So y'all do the math. Thank you so much, Sue. Catherine, thank you. Are they able to pay for work permits? I know Caymanians that have applied more than once for a job, but never even got a reply. Well, I guess they better pay government work permits, right? I hope so. But yes, I don't know. The whole thing's a hot mess. And it's unfortunate because obviously Dwayne Seymour does have children, and I'm sure, you know, the children see this and they're probably worried more than they should be about their financial situation. If him and the ex-wife or him and the current wife are no longer together, I don't know how that's going to end, if that's going to be divorce and more alimony and payments, and who knows what will fall out of that. But, you know, when you keep having children, 5 children is a lot of children to take care of. And you got to keep that in mind, that even as a man, you will often carry a large degree of the financial burden. CE banks, that's one of the issues that I keep wanting to get to, but we always run out of time, about people who are getting the stipend who shouldn't be getting it because they actually have a full-time government job. So let's see if we can, that was on my agenda for today, but it never happened. Let's see if we can get to that on Monday and have that discussion. So again, just to clarify, you know, the police, the prison has said that there have been no additional arrests at this time at the prison. So we have removed the story, and we will certainly correct that, and we will simply wait now and see what happens. Very unusual. All right, good people. Miss Judy, Loretta, Alice, all of you, thank you so much. Again, we can only sometimes just have a wait to see what is going on with these particular situations. Big shout out to MBI. They can take care of all of your packing and shipping needs, logistic needs as well. If you don't know how to move something from point A to point B, these are the people that you go to. They know how to do it. They've got over 30 years of experience, folks.
Miracle Brokers International is Cayman's premier source for all your packing, moving, and logistics needs. Whether it's moving a baby grand piano for a concert or moving halfway around the world, we have you covered with our team of local and international experts. MBI has over 30 years of industry experience and are able to get the job done for you right the first time. Contact us today for all your packing, moving, shipping, and logistics needs at 949-5989 or email info@miraclebrokers.com. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of The Cold Hard Truth. Make sure to check Facebook for showtimes and more information and the latest news at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Subscribe to our IG and Facebook pages to get the latest happenings.